Welcome back to iCave Dave. I am here. Sorry for the delay, but let's get straight into some of your questions. In this video, AirPods Pro ANC changes, 6.9-inch iPhones, 16-inch iPads, fantasy Apple products, are the events worth it? 2-year transitions, USB iPhones, favourite Androids, spoilers, there isn't one, Apple Pencils, Rum Cocktails, Twitter Blue, and rugged iPhone Ultras. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. Randomness asks, I'm noticing a significant drop in the strength of ANC on AirPods and on AirPods Pro Gen 1 and AirPods Max ever since Apple announced the AirPods Pro Gen 2. What's going on? Can you investigate please? Why is Apple making it worse in the software? And both AirPods automatically updated, so I didn't have control not to update. Now, this is an issue that is known, and it seems that it's not actually Apple's fault as such, but they are being attacked by some patent trolls, so they are making some changes basically to stop using some technologies that they used in the past that have then been bought out. I believe it's something to do with Jawbone, who used to make those little in-ear Bluetooth things. But that's the reason, basically. They've had to change the way that ANC works, and I assume that it's going to get better again over time. But at the moment, Apple's had to kind of come up with their own solution, and that's basically why it's going on. It's a bit of a pain, but not a great deal that anyone can do about that, unfortunately. Randomness asks, iCave answers, what are the chances Apple increases the screen size from 6.7 to 6.9 inch for the 15 Ultra model? So, no idea on this, to be honest. There's been no rumours from Ross Displayman at this point suggesting that we would be getting a bigger display on it. Apple does tend to do bigger displays as generations go on. Look at the iPad. The base level iPad started at 9.7, then went to 10.2, then 10.5. It's now at 10.9. So, yeah. Display sizes do tend to creep up. I think the Pro Max is big enough. I know a lot of people won't go to the Pro Max because it's too big. So, we will see on that, but also their bigger phone, the iPhone 14 Plus, has basically sold 3 units so far, so I guess maybe the trend for massive phones is over? Randomness asks, iCave answers, did you hear the new report regarding a possible 16-inch iPad Pro? That news made my day. If it comes true, I will buy it in a heartbeat, just like I bought the Apple Watch Ultra. Now I just need an 18-inch MacBook Pro or a 17-inch MacBook Air. Apple knows bigger screens sell. I'm not the only one that wants it. I think you might be. Because we also had a comment from Team Kinetics saying, if Apple release a 16-inch iPad, will Randomness finally be satisfied with a massive device? Also, what are your thoughts on the massive iPad? So, a 16-inch iPad? Really? Is this something that anyone wants? I'm sitting in front of a 13.6-inch MacBook Air right now, and that already looks far too big for a tablet. I don't know who wants it. Randomness obviously. Anyone else? Let me know in the comments. And again from Randomness iCave answers, what are your favourite Apple products and why? What would be your dream product if you could make anything? So I think, to be honest, I've got to say that my favourite product, even though I use the iPhone and my iPad the most, it's probably the Max. I just think the Mac is such a better way of doing things than what Windows has come up with in terms of the interface, in terms of the way that things work, the intuitive nature of things where you can just drag stuff from one place to another and it just does what you would expect to happen. And also things like preview. Like, how has Windows not come up with preview yet, where you can hit spacebar on a file and see what it is? Like, that's the weirdest thing ever. If I could make any Apple product, I think it would have to be turning the Apple TV into, like, a Mac Nano, so that the Apple TVs that are already out there start to run a version of macOS, macOS Lite, whatever you want to call it, but you can basically use your phone as a keyboard and trackpad type device, use it with whatever TV you've got in your room. It basically means you can turn every TV in your house into a little mini Mac for like a couple of $100, even less than that now. And yeah, it just seems like that would be a really good way for Apple to do like a DeX style experience and bring it to the bigger screens in your home. Let me know why I'm wrong. Frank Petrie asks, iCave answers, I know Tim wants the dosh, but would you agree they should only hold events when they have some real tech advancement instead of being beholden to the calendar, i.e. iPhone event every fall? iPhone 14 was a pointless release. Love the show and hope your son's doing well. I think the iPhone has to have an event every year, regardless of what's going on, and even though you say that the iPhone 14 was a pointless release, Maybe, but the iPhone 14 Pro certainly wasn't, and the differences that we get with the display, with doubling the brightness on the displays, getting the dynamic island, a few other bits in the cameras, that sort of stuff, it is a worthwhile event. Whether the 14 itself was a good product, it's up for debate, but also it's way faster than anyone needs, even with last year's processor. So, no, I like the events. I want us to keep having events. I don't mind if Apple wants to release, like, all of the M-series chips in one go, tell us what they all do, and then throughout the year just drop the Max. That would be okay if there's no redesign. If they redesign them, great. Let's all sit down and look at it and cheer about how lovely it is. James Apple asks, is Apple exempt from the rule of not completing their transition within the 2 years based around the supply chain bottlenecks? There is no rule. Everyone seems to take any comment that's said by any member of Apple's team as like some sort of gospel, they're on a deadline now. No, Tim said it's going to be about a 2-year transition. Okay, taking about 2 years. We've basically got a full lineup of Macs now. There is two Intel Macs that remain, which is the Mac Pro and a Mac Mini for some reason. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've had a transition over to ARM systems for Macs. It's done. A transition doesn't mean every single product must be replaced, otherwise we're a failure. That's not what it means. Daniel Goldsmith says, IKEV answers, Dave, having some fun here, but what are your thoughts? 3 iPhone models next year, iPhone 15/15 Pro, both with USB-C, 14S with USB-C, and an SE 4th generation with USB-C 6.1 and 5.4 inches. Okay, I'm a little bit confused. So why would they do this 14S with USB-C? They don't need to have USB-C in products that have already been released. They don't need to retrofit them. If they want to keep selling a 14 with Lightning, that's fine. It's just that new releases need to be with that. And even then, not until actually the 2024 release cycle, so they can actually get away with putting out the iPhone 15 still with Lightning if they so choose. But as Marquez has said, I actually think we might see them going over to full MagSafe and just not having a USB-C port at all. I don't think he's a mile off. Dave 2D has said the same thing. Brandon L asks, IKV answers, what is your favourite Android phone? Also, watching this new Pixel 7, this needs to become a new habit. Don't care about Android phones. I look at them when they come out. There's never been one that's compelling as a full package in the way that an iPhone is. All of them will have one feature that's better than an iPhone, but overall, you cannot get as good a package overall as an iPhone. And partially, if it comes down to it, just because Android isn't as enjoyable to use. I have tried it, I just dislike it. The Blob asks, IKV answers, can an iPad with a pencil replace a printer in 2022? I guess the answer depends, but I want it to. Now, it depends. If you are looking to print pictures for your wall, no, the Apple Pencil will not cover that. However, if you're talking about like signing documents, doing all that sort of stuff, yes, 100%. That's what I was doing when I was working at the theatre. Basically, we didn't really have access to printers. We had, for signage and things like that, but in general, like document signing, it wasn't a thing. So any invoice that I got that I needed to authorize for finance to go and pay eventually, all I needed to do was sign it off with the Apple Pencil, email it back, away you go. It was really, really nice. But yeah, for filling in forms, that sort of stuff, yeah, absolutely fine. James Apple, what is the best drink for rum, whether white or dark rum? I think the classic has to be a daiquiri. White rum is always best for a daiquiri. If you want to go for dark rums, look at something like a Painkiller. Painkiller is a fantastic drink. If you don't know it, look it up. James Apple, will you get verified on Twitter with Twitter Blue, Dave? No, absolutely not. I don't particularly care about it. However, thank you for letting me plug my thing. I made little verified badges that you can buy. They're $8 because that's apparently the trend these days. It's got a little $8 on it so that everyone knows that you are verified, but you don't need to subscribe to this one. You buy it once and it gets sent out to you and you can wear it forever. Nobody, not even Elon, can take it away from you. iCaveDave.com/verified. Evan Rogers asks, IKV answers, seriously, why don't Apple make a USB-C Apple One Pencil variant? I guess yes, the reason for that is because it doesn't really matter. And on to your next question, I gave answers. So about the Apple Pencil 1 and iPad 10, do you know if there are any USB-C male to Lightning female cables available for purchase anywhere on the internet? It would sure be great to use a cable instead of a cable and a dongle adapter to pair and charge. Yeah, you can get those. I'm pretty sure they brought them out, but at the same time, like, if you just keep your dongle on one of the cables, that's the same thing. Like, I've always been confused about everyone's aversion to dongles. I don't think it matters. I think it's slightly annoying, but that's about as far as it goes. But why didn't they make a USB-C version of Apple Pencil 1? Because it's only for one product, and I think it's because they're going to get rid of it soon. I feel like there's a third generation Apple Pencil on the horizon. We've been talking about it for a long time, potentially with a little camera in the tip so that you can actually like sample colours from the real world and then paint with that onto your iPad. That would be superb. And all they would need to do is just move the charging coils away from where the camera sits on the landscape part of the iPad. And then you can just charge it at one end. You put the battery through where the camera is right now on the iPads, and then you can move all of your iPads to having those landscape cameras. I think Apple has shown their intent with these landscape cameras with the iPad 10. I think this is sort of an experiment to see if people care. And I think people do like having the camera there. I think people really like having the camera there. And I think finding a different way of doing the pencil, if you're going to update your pencil anyway, is probably the right way around this. And Randomness asks, I gave answers, will Apple make the iPhone 15 Ultra rugged and give it the orange colour scheme like they did with the Apple Watch Ultra? Probably not. I really don't think so. Remember, the iPhone 15 Ultra is what we're basically calling the Pro Max from next year. As far as we've heard, whether that's true or not, we don't know. Maybe that action button will come across, but it also sounds like the next generation of the iPhone isn't going to have physical buttons at all. The volume up and down and the power button will be capacitive, which sounds pretty good to me. It's all going to be just less places for water and stuff to ingress into it. But also, you know, having physical buttons doesn't necessarily make that worse, as we can see with the Apple Watch Ultra, which is waterproof to like, what, 100 meters? Water resistant to 100 meters. Nothing in the world is waterproof. It's water resistant. And there we go. That was a bit of a super high-speed video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And we're going to be back with stuff on Project 91, which is finally happening. It's happening, guys! We're going to put M1 inside a Macintosh Classic from 1991.